Listen, a year ago, I was exactly where most of you are right now, scrolling through Instagram at 2 a.m., setting goals for the new year that I would forget by January 15th, telling myself, tomorrow I'll start, while watching my dreams collect dust. But something clicked. I realized that nobody was coming to save me. No magic pill, no lottery ticket, just me, my decisions, and 365 days to change my life. And here's what happened. I built a business that generated over 6 figures USD in cash. I got into pretty much the best shape of my life, and I built a personal brand that connects me with millionaires and literally brings clients to my door. But more importantly, I became the person I always knew I could be. Now, I'm not sharing this to flex. The difference between who you are today and who you want to be isn't talent, connections, or luck. It's the systems you build and the decisions you make every single day. Today, I'm breaking down the exact 6 things that I did to change my life in 2025. No fluff, no theory, just what actually worked. And if you even implement half of what I'm actually about to share, trust me, your life will literally become unrecognizable a year from now. So let's get into it. First thing that I had to address was my attention was being hijacked. See, here's the brutal truth that most people don't even want to hear. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, you're just addicted. Your brain has been rewired by apps built by neuroscientists whose only job is to literally keep you scrolling for as long as possible. Every notification, every like, every reel that you share with your friend, it's a spike of dopamine. And just like any other addiction in the world, you need more and more hits to feel more and more dopamine. Meanwhile, the things that actually matter, like building your business, working on your goals, becoming better, those will start to feel boring. They don't give you that instant gratification that you get from scrolling. So I just realized that if I wanted to do hard things, I would have to make the easy things harder. My phone was literally controlling me at the start of last year. I would wake up, first thing I'd do is check my messages and scroll Instagram. Even when I was working, I would label it as working, but I was just switching between tabs. 8 hours of screen time, but 0 real productivity. I was busy, but not productive, and I was distracted. I wasn't focused. So here's how I managed to handle that. I installed a screen time blocking app, and I set it up in a way that between 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. I could not access any apps. So that was just sleep time for me. It was a locked in period. And when I say any apps, I literally mean any apps, like 0. My phone literally becomes a brick. And then from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I can only access a handful of apps, the ones that I actually need for work. And here's an even bigger game changer. I turned on grayscale. All the colors just disappeared from my phone. And suddenly Instagram wasn't this vibrant, tempting portal. It was just gray. It was boring. It wasn't worth my time. And you can literally do it in 2 minutes. Go to your settings, go to the accessibility tab, then display and text size, then color filters, and turn on grayscale. If not the entire day, just schedule it to turn on automatically at night. And then you can download an app like Opal and do screen time blocking similar to how I did. Will it be uncomfortable? Absolutely. You'll feel phantom vibrations. You'll still reach for your phone out of habit, and that's alright. And when you do, you won't be able to access it, and that is rewiring your brain to not reach for it again. You need to embrace that feeling. Because here's what happens, right? When you remove that junk dopamine, suddenly real work doesn't feel as hard. Going to the gym becomes easier. Reading becomes enjoyable again. You're not comparing everything to the artificial high that you get from watching these reels. And this one change is literally going to create the mental space that you need for everything that I'm about to share. Alright, once you have this done, we move on to the second thing. I had to get crystal clear on where I was headed. Most people just have generic goals like, I want to be successful, or I want to make more money. That's not a goal, that's a wish, and wishes don't come true, plans come true. Every year I'd been setting New Year's resolutions, and literally by February I wouldn't even remember what they were. I was working, but I didn't know if I was working on the right things. I was busy, but I had no idea if I was actually getting closer to my goals, and that really had to change. And this is exactly how I tackled that. At the start of the year, I sat down and I got specific. Not just annual goals, I broke everything down into quarterly, monthly, and even weekly goals. Then I took it even one step further, which is I broke those goals down into daily actionable items. So instead of having generic goals like building a 6-figure business, break it down into smaller pieces that are way more digestible. When are you launching the offer? When are you getting your first client? When are you getting your first 10 clients? And then reverse engineer that as to, okay, what do I need to do to make that little goal happen? See, here's the difference. One is a dream and the other is a roadmap. And the man with the roadmap always wins. Now here's another key. I didn't just write these goals down and forget about them. Every morning before I did anything else, I would just review these goals. I'd look at at my yearly goals, my monthly goals, and my tasks for the day. And another thing that was a game changer for me, even before I looked at my goals, I would write down 3 things that I was grateful for that morning. Now here's why this matters, okay? Gratitude rewires your brain. When you start your day acknowledging what you already have, you operate from a place of abundance, not a scarcity mindset. You're not desperate, you're not chasing validation. You're building from a foundation of confidence. Plus, it also puts you in the right emotional state to tackle hard things. You can't be anxious and grateful at the same time, right? Try it. You literally can't. Now, this is how you can do it. Just get a journal, don't be fancy. Every morning, just wake up and write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be your family, it could be how the business is performing, it could be the fact that you got to wake up, and then once you're done with that, review your goals. Keep them visible. I like to put mine on a wall or on my phone's wallpaper, everywhere I could see them regularly, so I don't forget where I'm headed, what my North Star is. And then don't forget to break them down. What do I need to accomplish this year? To make that accomplishment in the year, what do I need to accomplish this quarter? Now, to accomplish that in the quarter, what inputs should I be dialing in every month, every week, every single day? And when you break these huge goals down into actionable items, suddenly the impossible becomes inevitable. Now that you have your goals right, let's move on to non-negotiables. These are things that you do no matter what. Doesn't matter if you're tired, doesn't matter if you're busy, doesn't matter if you don't feel like it, you do them anyway. Motivation is garbage. Motivation gets you started, but it's only if you can turn it into systems that you get to keep going. I needed things that would happen every single day, regardless of how I would feel about them, because feelings can change at any point of time, but standards cannot. So I committed to 3 things every single day. First is a physical activity every single day. Some days it was an intense workout, other days it was a 20-minute walk. It didn't matter. I just decided to move my body every single day. Your physical state literally determines your mental state. I am leaner than I have ever been right now, and I feel the best. I feel sharp. I feel ready to attack my day every single morning. You cannot feel like a winner if you are treating your body like a dumpster. When you work out when you don't want to, you prove to yourself that, okay, I can achieve things regardless of how I feel. And that confidence, it literally bleeds into every other area of your life. Second is clean eating. I ate as clean as I could. Whole foods, high protein, minimally processed foods. I was not perfect at all. I had multiple cheat meals, but I just made sure I balanced it out the next day. And this is why I have this in here. Food is your fuel. It is either your fuel or your poison. When you eat clean, when you're eating healthy, you just have more energy to be able to function better, and indirectly you work better. Your brain works better, you sleep better, everything improves. Third, and now this might sound a little extreme, but it's really not. I did a 36-hour water fast twice a month. That means no food for a day and a half, just water, some black coffee, and tea if you want. Now, why did I do this? Because fasting flushes out toxins from your gut. It sort of resets your relationship with food. It teaches you that hunger is not an emergency, it's just a signal. Plus, the mental clarity that you get from fasting is insane. Your body isn't spending energy digesting food, so your brain just gets all the resources. I noticed whenever I did a fast, my productivity was through the roof. Now, this is how you incorporate this exact routine. Start with physical activity. Commit to just moving your body every single day, whether that's a walk, whether that's a workout, whether that's a run. Just move your body every single day. For your diet, just start out by cutting the obvious chunk. Those noodles that you have every single day, or whatever packaged foods, chocolates, desserts, just cut those out and just stick to something that's a bit more healthy, whole foods, vegetables, and just get more protein in. For fasting, you can start small. Try a 16-hour fast, and once that feels comfortable, you can slowly bump up the time to 36 or even 72 hours if you want. But the main lesson here is establish your non-negotiables. What are 3 to 5 things that you will do every single day, regardless of what goes on in the world? Write them down and track them, because daily actions compound massively in the long run. When you take care of your body, everything else becomes much easier. Your energy goes up, your confidence goes up, your ability to handle stress goes up. You literally become unstoppable. Now that we have 3 things through, let's get to the 4th thing. And this is one of the main things. I completely changed my environment. Jim Rohn said you're the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. And when I looked around, I realized I was surrounded by a lot of people who weren't going anywhere. Now, this is why this is very important. You have the best goals, the best systems, and the best work ethic, but if you're in the wrong environment, you'll fail. Your environment is stronger than your willpower every single time. If all your friends want to do is party and talk about who's dating who, that's your ceiling. You'll never rise above the room you're in. I just decided to get ruthless. I cut out every single friend who showed up only when I was doing well. Every person who always just wanted to hang out or party or gossip and talk about other people, I just cut them out. And it sounds harsh, but here's the reality. Those people might have been anchors, but they were never the engine. I stayed loyal to the ones who challenged me, the ones who asked about my goals, the ones who actually wanted to build something, the ones who showed up up when things got hard. Then I started putting myself in different rooms. I started sitting at tables where people talked about God, business, discipline, growth, not other people, not gossip, not negativity. And here's another game changer. I did 2 trips to Dubai with other founder friends. Just being in a different environment, people operating at the same level, it completely shifted my mindset. Here's a fun fact. After each trip, my business saw major growth. Not because I learned some secret tactic from them, but because my thinking changed. When you see what's possible, when you get introduced to people operating levels above you, you realize if they can do it, so can I. Your limiting beliefs get shattered, your excuses disappear, and you just start showing up. So just start by auditing your circle. Look at the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Are they where you want to be? Are they pushing you to get better, or are they holding you back? This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off, but you do have to be intentional. Spend more time with people ahead of you, less time with people pulling you down. Join a run club, join some communities, find people who are building what you want to build. And if you can travel, put yourself into new environments. Go to different cities, go to different countries. Your perspective on life will change because you've just experienced more. Remember, you can't soar with eagles if you're hanging out with turkeys. So keeping that in mind, choose your environment wisely. It plays a major role in your life. Now the 5th thing is I became obsessed with leverage. There's a concept called the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of the actions. Most people spend their time on the 80% that doesn't matter, and I just decided to flip that. And this is why I did it, right? I was busy, but I was not making progress. At least not as much as I thought I would. I would work 12-hour days and I would have nothing to show for. I had been in the cycle of reading self-improvement books, watching YouTube videos, getting all that info, but not implementing as much as I should have been. I was just consuming content instead of creating results, and that had to stop. So I started by asking myself one question every single day. What will I do today that will move the needle for me? Not 10 things, just one thing. The highest leverage activity that would generate revenue, build my business, or get me closer to my goals in general. For me, that meant focusing on fast feedback loops. I'd launch something, get feedback, reiterate, and launch something again. No more spending months building the perfect product. I'd build a minimum viable version of every system, put it to test, and if it worked, good, improve it. If it didn't work, audit, redo it. Heavy execution over perfect planning and action over theory. I also even looked at all my tasks throughout the day and just asked myself, does this move the needle? If the answer was no, but the task was still important, I automated it or delegated it, or more often than not, deleted it overall, because it was just busy work that made me feel productive, but it was not worth my time. What this did was it opened up my calendar for the things that actually move the needle. Building distribution, building systems, getting on more clients, making my product the best. The stuff that actually made me money and moved the needle for my brand is the only thing that I focused on, and it did wonders. This exact approach is the only reason why I was able to generate multiple 6 figures USD in cash from my primary business. And you can do this as well. Just start by tracking your time for 1 week. Write down everything you do and how long it takes. At the end of the week, highlight activities that are actually moving the needle. You'll be shocked. Most of your time is probably spent on things that don't even matter. And once you do that, then commit to doing one high leverage task every single day before doing anything else. For a business owner, that might be sales calls or product creation. For someone trying to get into shape, that would be working out. For someone building a personal brand, it's creating content. Do that first before you check your email, before you scroll through social media, before you get distracted. Just do the things that actually make a difference. And for everything else, ask yourself, can I automate this? Can I delegate this? Can I delete this? Your time is your most valuable asset, so make sure you protect it ruthlessly. Spend it on things that compound, because everything else is just noise that is blocking your time. And finally, the thing that changed my life, building a personal brand. I built a personal brand because a personal brand is a distribution channel that amplifies everything else you do for the rest of your life. It got me inbound clients, people reaching out to me and asking if I'd be down to work together, not me chasing them. People came to me and they gave me their business. It helped me connect with millionaires around the world who I would never have access to otherwise. And it made me a lot of money. But more than that, it gave me leverage. When you have an audience, you have attention. And attention is the most valuable currency in the world. I started creating content. I shared what I was learning. I shared what I was building and the mistakes I was making. I showed up consistently. Not perfectly, but consistently. I didn't try to be on every platform. I focused on one, built an audience, and now I'm expanding. I provided value first. I didn't just talk about myself. I helped people. I taught what I knew. I gave away valuable information for free, just how I'm doing right now. And over time, people started paying attention. My audience grew, opportunities started showing up, clients reached out, and my income went up. And you can do it too. It's not that hard. Pick one platform. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. Just pick one platform and commit to it for the next 6 months. Create content around what you know. Your journey, your expertise, your perspective perspective. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be a few steps ahead of the people you're helping. Post consistently, 3 times a week minimum, and document your journey. Share your wins, share your losses, and just be real. And even provide value. Help people. Give them answers. Solve problems, and the money will follow. Just trust me. Look, here's the bottom line. A year from now, you're gonna arrive. The question is, where? You can be in the same place, doing the same things, getting the same results. Or you can be living a completely different life. The choice is completely yours, but you have to decide today. Everything I shared with you, the dopamine detox, the goal setting, the non-negotiables, the environment, the high leverage tasks, the personal brand, these aren't secrets. They're systems, and systems work if you work with them. So take action. Start today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, today. And in case you want to dive deeper into building a personal brand and why it's absolutely critical for your success, I've made a full video breaking that down. You can watch it next. I'll link it right here. But yeah, just stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is right now. Let's build, and I will see you in the next one.